Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, chef allegedly stabs a man over affair with a baby mother. A St. Mary chef has been charged with wounding with intent after allegedly stabbing a man he accused of being romantically involved with the mother of his child. The accused has been identified as 38-year-old Ricardo Ricketts, otherwise known as the Twinkle and the Short Man of Gettyston District in St. Mary. Reports from the Porto Maria police are that around 9:50 p.m. on Saturday, June 21, Ricketts confronted the man in the Oxford district, believing he was having an affair with his child's mother. He reportedly pulled a knife and stabbed the man in the abdomen. The wounded man managed to flee the scene and was assisted by nearby residents who rushed him to the hospital for emergency treatment. A report was made to the police, and following a targeted operation in Gettyston on Sunday, June 22, Ricketts was taken into custody. He was formally charged the following day. His court date is being arranged. PEP placement transfers only done in exceptional or adverse circumstances. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information is reminding that it does not facilitate routine student transfers between schools except in exceptional or adverse circumstances. In a bulletin issued by the MOESYI, parents and guardians seeking to transfer children already placed in schools through the primary exit profile placement process are reminded of their responsibilities in the transfer process. They must identify a willing accepting school and follow the outlined procedure. The accepting school must provide the parent or guardian with an acceptance letter. Conversely, the school where the child was initially placed must issue a release letter. Both letters must include the child's full name and the student registration number, which can be found on the top left corner of the PEP student report. The parent or guardian must write a formal letter addressed to the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry, Dr. Kassan Troop, requesting approval for the transfer. This letter should include the child's name and SRN and must be accompanied by the acceptance and release letters. The applications must be submitted to the respective regional office. Transfer requests will be processed by the Ministry through the regional offices, which will send approval letters to both the accepting and releasing schools within 1 week of receiving the request. These approval letters will also include the child's name and the SRN. The Ministry's offices operate from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mondays through Thursdays and from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Fridays. For further inquiries or additional information, parents and the guardians are encouraged to contact their regional or central offices or email pepaction@moey.gov.jm. The ministry emphasizes that transfers outside of these adverse circumstances are at the discretion of the MOESYI and are not a part of routine procedures. Teachers vote overwhelmingly to return Lysandra Harrison to GTA presidency. Principal Lysandra Harrison has secured a decisive win in the 2025 Jamaica Teachers Association presidential election, returning amid her lawsuit against the union and the concerns over wage talks and the teacher regulation. In the count following last week's voting exercise, Harrison garnered 6,651 votes, more than twice the tally of her closest rival, Jermaine Williams, who received 2,771. Dr. Maureen Mullins Nelson polled 1,883 votes, the group announced Tuesday. There were 305 rejected ballots from the total of 11,610 votes cast. The result means Harrison, who served as GTA president from 2022 to 2023, will return to the leadership track of the powerful teachers union. She will be formally declared president-elect at the GTA's annual conference in August and assume her second one-year presidential term in August 2026. Harrison's victory comes amid an ongoing legal challenge she has brought against the JTA regarding its acceptance of the 2022-2025 government wage offer. Harrison's entrance in the race triggered concerns among some teachers. At the presidential debate held on June 13, Harrison defended her decision, saying the issue was about upholding the constitution of the association. There are matters of principle. There are matters of correcting whatever breach that we find to have happened in our organization. There is no financial gain or personal gain in seeking to correct a constitutional breach or what is perceived to be so, she said in response to a question. Williams pressed her on whether she would abandon the case if elected. Harrison responded, "The matter before the court is the matter before the court, and we are seeking a response from an independent arbiter." The lawsuit centers on a virtual special delegates conference in March 2023, at which the JTA voted to accept a 3-year wage offer from the government. Harrison contends the virtual vote was unconstitutional, arguing that only in-person voting is permitted under Section 14 of the JTA Constitution. Harrison also stoked a controversy after leaving the room before the deal was signed with the government. Then President-elect Lyndon Johnson signed on behalf of the union. During her campaign, Harrison proposed several initiatives and advocacy aimed at improving the professional and personal well-being of teachers, including expanded wage negotiations, mental health support, housing benefits, and reforms to teacher appraisal systems. Her platform also included enhancing engagement with church-based ministries. Harrison, who is an intercessor and a Sunday school superintendent at the Freedom Come Ministries International in Portmore, has pledged to strengthen partnerships with the churches and the Christian groups to provide spiritual support within the school community. She is also advocating for the inclusion of a National Day of Prayer in the Ministry of Education's school calendar each term, as well as a National Back-to-School Church service at the start of each academic year. Harrison will join a new executive lineup that will include current President-elect Mark Malabver, principal of Yalas High School in St. Thomas, who is slated to assume the presidency in August. Outgoing President Dr. Mark Smith will then serve as the immediate past president. The teachers have spoken, Malabver told the news. The teachers continue to repose confidence in her. As the incoming president, I wish to welcome her back to the presidential corps, knowing fully what lies ahead. Her support at this time, as I prepare myself to lead the organization, is timely. The JTA represents more than 20,000 educators across the island and plays a key role in education policy advocacy and wage negotiations. A new wage agreement and the Jamaica Teaching Council bill, which proposes a licensing regime for teachers, are among the big items dominating discussion between the union and the teachers. The JTA will oppose legislation that seeks to oppress our members, she said of the JTC bill in August 2022. The stance appears to have remained as during the June debate, as Harrison criticized the composition of the proposed council to head the JTC. The 19,000, 20,000 plus teachers of this nation must arise. Nothing for the teachers of this nation without the teachers involved. A 31-member committee cannot have 15 members licensed and registered and 16 not licensed and registered. The teacher's voice must be in majority, she said. She also argued that a performance-based pay for teachers cannot be implemented without investment in key areas of the sector, including infrastructure. Until we treat with all of those issues, establishing minimum standards in schools, then I do not believe we're at the point to talk about a pay by performance, Harrison said. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.